Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we set this Taanit daf Chaf Hey. We're going to begin on the bottom of Chaf Daled Mebez, third line from the bottom. Amarav Yehuda. Amarav B'chol Yom B'Yom, every day Bas Kol Yatzas V'Yomeres Kol Oyom Kul Nizim B'Shvil Chanina B'Ni. The entire world is satiated because of Chanina. However, Chanina B'Ni Dayel B'Kav Charuv V'Me'er Shabbos Erev Shabbos. He eats the smallest amount, just enough of a carob from one Friday to the next. Habrigila debesu l'machama tenura komali de shabbata. Even though they really had nothing because they were so poor, they used to still fire up their oven. The shadia tarta, and they used to, Rashi says, put in something which is a davar shemal oshan, something which caused smoke, so that people would maybe get the impression when they look at the chimneys, like, oh, it looks like they're cooking. But really they weren't cooking. They had literally nothing. That's what continue Chaf Hey and Al. Why they did this? Mishum kisufa, havila hachshivusa, bishta. So there was this neighbor who wasn't so nice, even though they used to always do this because it was embarrassing that this woman didn't have any food. So one of her neighbors came, and Amra Michdi, Yadanda the Leisel who below media. I know they have nothing. My kuli high, what's all the smoke going on over there? Azul v'tarfa ababa. She knocked on the door. Ichsafa v'ayla le'in deruna. So because she was embarrassed, Chanin Mendoza's wife went into the inner room, and this Abdullah Nisa the Chazil tanura moli lachma va'agona moli lisha. And when she opened up this oven, this nosy neighbor, she saw that it was filled with bread and there was a bowl filled with dough. So Amula planisa, I say masa, get your shovel, the kacharech lachmich, because your bread is burning. So Amula afanalahi, that's exactly where I was going. I was going to get it. Now, was she telling the truth? Yes, because Tana Avhi Lahabi Mirda Nichnasa. She actually was going to get this shovel. She was accustomed to having miracles that happen all the time. So she turned to her husband and said, how much do we have to suffer over here? Ask Hashem and He'll give us something to survive. So Barachmi Yotzik Min Pizzas Yad V'yoivle Chad Kara Dipsaira Didahava. They were given this very precious leg, which is made out of gold, of a table, and it could probably sell it for a lot of money. And the Chazoi Bechelma, so there's different gears over here, but she saw in a dream that Tidit Tzadiki the Achle Aptura the Dahava Dislay Tlaskare Yat, or in her husband, Ochelas Absurd de Tre Kare. So everyone else is eating on a table of 3 legs, and here you're eating on a table of 2 legs. And some people say that because Ha'olam is Oimid and Torah V'Anim Chasadim, so you get your reward in Olam Haba for those 3 things. So the reward for the table of Avoda, which he davened for, that was given to him. And she realized that's not a good thing. So Amalei Nichalach the Mechalachli Kolyalma Absurd de Mishlam. Everyone's going to eat by a complete full table of Anan Absurd de Machsar. We're going to be at a broken table. So Amalei, my David, by Rachmi Dinishkalinhu Minach. Ask Hashem to take it back. We don't want it. So by Rachmi V'Shakluhu. So they asked for mercy, and in fact that's what happened. It was taken away. Now, these were 2 great miracles. Receiving it, and also the fact that it was taken back. The latter one is a greater miracle. Hashem gives, He's not a taker. She was a Friday. He saw his daughter was upset. It's Erev Shabbos. Why are you so sad? So the problem is that I only have vinegar, and how am I supposed to be able to light Shabbos candles without oil? Sarmala biti. Ma'ich baslach. What are you worried about? Mishar Shemen v'yidloik hu yarmer l'chaymetz v'yidlok. Hashem, who causes oil to burn, will cause the vinegar to burn. Tano hayadoich v'hayel kol yom kul. The vinegar burned all day. Ad she'aviyu mimenu orul havdalah. They actually were still able to light their havdalah candle from it. He had these goats, which seems to be hard to imagine because he was so poor. How do you have all these animals? We're just going to talk about that. So Amrulay, people said, in complaining, they said, Kamafsidin, they're causing financial loss. Your animals are problematic. Somebody said, listen, Ika mafsidan nichlinu. If they're causing you a loss, let them be eaten by bears. If not, let all of them have a bear stuck in their horns. To prove that these animals were doing nothing wrong, in fact, they were stuck in its horns. Shivta, there was a neighbor, the Kabanya Besa, was building a house. Well, Matak Shuri didn't have beams. Says, we built this house, but on beams. Amalei Mashmech, Amalei Aiku. That's my name. Almost sounds like Eicha. Amar Aichu Nimtu Kishurayich. Let your poles of the house get longer. Tan Hegiu Ad Shiatsu Amalakan Amalakan. That actually extended an Amma. Yisharmin Sinifan Asuyan. That there was some form of an extension that was made. Tanya Plimo Omer Anira Isi Yaisa Habayas. I saw that house. And that's the miracle of what happened to that house. V'yamruli Bayazeh Shekera, and he said regarding this house, Shekera, Reb Chanina ben Daisa b'tfilasa, that he caused it to happen through his tfilas. Chanina ben Daisa mehechan hayu le'izim. So let's go back to this whole story of the goats. How did he have goats? But anihavi, he was poor. He couldn't afford anything. He didn't have oil. He didn't have anything. But od, Amar Chachamim in Migadim behema dakam Eretz Yisrael. Now it's supposed to have small animals there, Eretz Yisrael. Why would he violate that? So Amar Pinchas Masev of Avar Adam Echad al Pesach Beso. Someone passed his house. Meniach Sham Tarnagoylan. And there were these like roosters, and he forgot them there. So his wife found them. Don't eat its eggs. All of a sudden, it laid eggs, and there was a bunch of roosters and hens and eggs all over the place. It was causing them a lot of problems. So they sold them. They felt it was easier for them to purchase goats, so that when the rightful owners come claiming their Tarnagoylim, that they'll be able to just give them the goats. So Pamachas Avar Oiso Adam She'avdu Min Tarnagoylim. That guy came back. V'Amar L'Chaveru B'Kan Hinachdi HaTarnagoylim Shali. This is where I left my Tarnagoylim. So Shama Rabbi Chanina Amar Yeshachal Behen Simon. Do you have a sign to prove they were yours? Amar Hein Nasl Simon and Natl Izim. The hein easy the aisu duvi b'kernaihu. Those were the very the ones which had the bears of the horns. So they were not his. Rabbi Lezer ben Padas the chikule milsa was tuva. It was very difficult for him to be able to support himself. He didn't have much. Ovid milsa, he did something. Rashi says hikas dam. He did bloodletting. However, lo havele midi lamitim. After you let blood, you're supposed to eat something. He didn't have anything. So shakal bara with the tuma, he had some garlic. The shadi bapumi threw into his mouth. That's not the best thing to eat after letting blood. So cholish libe, he felt bad, his heart. Manim, he went to sleep. Also ban l'shulibe, he went to see how he was doing. Chazdu de kabach v'chayich. He saw that he was laughing and crying. Benafik tzutzisa denoirun, the sparks coming miapait, miapuse, from his face. Ki Easter, when he woke up, Amrule maitama kabachas v'chayches. Why were you laughing and crying in your sleep? What was going on? What were you thinking about? Amrulhu dahavi Yosef imi v'kodesh baruch hu v'Amrule Hashem said, An masit star b'hayalma. How much is this person going to be in tsar? V'Amrule Elazar b'ni nichlach di avchel alma mereshe efsher demisialat b'shaita demizayni. It was amazing. He said, you know what? If you want, you could start all over and be born in a time, in a generation where there's food. Do you imagine? We don't think about how lucky we are that food is so readily available. But people were starving and they had nothing. So he said, do you want to be in a generation where food is readily available? So that's what he was offered. So Amri Kemei Kuli Hai the Efsher, all of this and just maybe. So Amrulay the Chaytfei o the Chayena. Did I, most of my years, did they pass, or do I have more of my years ahead of me? So Amrulay the Chayis. Actually, most of your years have passed. You've lived more than half of your life. So Amrulay Kameim Kain will be ina. I'm not interested. So Amrulay Bahai Agra, for that reward, the Amrit will be ina. That you don't want, Yavinu Lach Almad Asi. I'm going to give you in the world to come, Tleasre Neharvasa, these like 13 rivers, the Mishcha Apas Afarsamoin, that you'll be able to anoint yourself with balsam, Dachian, Kifras Vidiglas Dim Angus Bahu, that you'll be able to get Hana and benefit from all of this. So Amri L'Kamei Hi Vasulo, that's all you're going to give me? So Amri L'Charich Ma Yavuna. If I give you any more, then you'll have nothing for me to give to your friends. So Amri V'Ana Megavra Delesle B'Ina. For this person, the Lesle B'Ina. I want the world to come. Olam Haba. Machin B'Is Kutla Apus Apusai. She said, I want the world to come for those people that maybe didn't deserve it. So Hashem flicked his finger, Apsuye, on his forehead. V'Armeli Elazar Bari Gire Bach Gire. Arrows will have struck you. Exactly what exactly is that message that Hashem is saying? But again, he laughed and he cried because of these mixed emotions of being offered to the possibility of going into another generation, and the fact that he didn't want to be Matreach Hashem, so Hashem rewarded him greatly. Rav Chama Bar Chanina goes to Tanisa. V'lo Mitra didn't rain. Armalei B'ha Rabbi Yeshua and Levi goes to Tanisa V'as Mitra, but in Rabbi Yeshua did it and it rained. So Armalu Ha Na Ha Bar Levia. There's no comparison. Says Rashi, Hu Ish Echad. He's one person. V'ani Eish Echad. And I'm one person. Hu Adif Minoi. He's greater than me. So that's the reason why he was answered. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi was answered. Amalei Denese V'nechavin Daite Efsher de Tarit Sibura Libayehu Diasamitra. He goes, maybe you should break the hearts of the tzibur, and maybe they'll do tshuva, and then the rain will come. But un de rachme v'las mitra. Again, the rain didn't come. Should the rain come for our sake? Rakia, heaven, sky, kasi panecha, cover your face. Lo chasi, not cover. Amar kama azin pene rakia, how brazen is the sky. Chasi v'yasimitra. So by davening in this fashion, in this way, it rained. So Levi goes to Tanisa v'yasimitra. Levi fasted, but didn't help. Amru l'fanu b'nei shalom. Alis of yeshavte b'marim be'enat marachim al banecha. How could you not have compassion on your children? So he spoke very harshly to Hashem. Yasimitra, the itla, but he was punished. He became lame because of this. So Amr Belezer, Adam Devarim Klapi Malo. We shouldn't speak so harshly toward Hashem. Shari Adam Gadol Hetiach Devarim Klapi Malo the Itlo Madhu Levi. Is it true that that's what caused Levi to be injured? It's not true. V'Halevi Achvi Kida Kamei the Rebbe the Itlo. Says Rashi. The Gemara in Sukkah talks about that they would do this interesting thing called Kida, which is very difficult. That you would basically put your two thumbs on the ground and used to bend and kiss the ground, kiss the floor. And if you weren't careful or you weren't trained, you could slip and hurt yourself. And that's what happened to Levi. So it was because of that. Where it says, Habaha Garmale, says Rashi, Hachet Garam Lo Shenitzla Bekida. Because he sinned by speaking that way to Hashem, that's why he was punished when he was engaged in Kida. Habaha Garmale. Rabbi Chia bar Lulyani, Shaminhud Lahanachanani. He heard literally the clouds were conversing with one another. The Ka'amri Nesim Nesim Mayim Ammon and Moav. Let the rain fall on Ammon and Moav. Armulafana of Rebbeinu Shalom. Kishinosata Torah Lamcha Yisrael. When you give the Torah to Amcha Yisrael, Chazarta al Kolumas Oilam, you went to everyone. Lo Kiblua. They weren't Makabel the Torah. Yachshav Ata Nois Lehem Mater. Now you want to give them rain? Why do they deserve it? Shadu Hacha. Throw the rain here. Shadua Aduchtaihu. And it fell in its place. Darsha Bechia bar Lulyani. Ma'nechsiv. What does it mean, the pasuk Sadik Katami Yafrach, which we say on Friday night? That a tzaddik is like a date palm tree that blossoms. Ke'erez Bovanin Yiske. That it grows tall like a cedar. So Im Nemar Tamar, Lama Nemar Erez. Im Nemar Erez, Lama Nemar Tamar. Which one is it? Or if it's both, what's the quality of each? This is question 1. Kasha im katamar amai ke'erez. Im ke'erez amai katamar. You can't be two trees. So what qualities are each of those trees that we take from? So the Gemara says like this. Iu nemar tamar v'lo nemar erez ha'yisa aymer matam. You would think when it comes to a date palm tree, we can do chav ham and beis. Ein gizay machlef. It doesn't grow back. It doesn't regenerate itself. And also will not have any future generations. Says Rashi, ein lo zecher tzadik. So lokach nemer erez, that does regenerate. Io nemer erez will nemer tamar hayisa oimer ma erez ein oisa peros, doesn't grow fruits. Av tzadik chasashem ein oisa peros, doesn't have fruits, lokach nemer tamar, and therefore the nemer erez, the erez gizoy machlef, and an erez it regenerates. V'sanya halokech iwan mechaveroi lokoitz. If a person purchases a tree from his friend in order to chop it down, so magbiyoy min hakarka tefach, you should lift it up a tefach from the ground. The kaitzitz b'tsadan. And you can cut it there. But sadan hashikma, when it comes to the sycamore trunk, shnei tfachim, should be 2 tfachim from the ground, because it does regenerate itself, this is Rashi. Bibsulas hashikma, a new sycamore tree, shloisha tfachim, bekanim and gefanim, when it comes to reeds and grapevines, menapakak lomal, from the lowest knot. B'dikalim uvarazim, when it comes to the erez, chayfer lamata, you can dig it all the way to the bottom, mashrish, and remove its roots. Lefishin gizu machlef, it doesn't matter because it's not going to regenerate itself. So how can you tell me that the erez regenerates itself? We see it doesn't. No, hachaba b'shar mini razim. K'derabba barhuna diyomer rabba barhuna sar mini razim hein shenemar etin b'midbar erez shita v'adas v'gaimer. Depends on the type of erez. There's certain erez, type of cedars that do regenerate itself, and some don't. Tanabon, Maser Belezer shegoes hashol shesri tiny yisel tzibor. He 13 fasts. V'lo yardu shamim. It didn't rain. B'achroina hiskil hatzibu latzeis. Everyone was leaving. They're like, okay, it's not happening. Amulahem tikantim kivarim la'atzmachem. Are you going to prepare graves for yourself? So go kol b'chi v'yardu gesham. And they felt so bad when he said that. All of a sudden, it started to rain. So I always see that the reason why it rains is because not of the prayers, but it's the hargasha, how you feel. That it's, if you're moved or changed in your emotion, that's what causes the rain to come. Shumaisa Rebbe Lezer, she yard lifnei ateva. He was davening. Yarmer Esrim v'arba bracha. He's full of nana. Even he said all 24 wasn't answered. Yard Rabbi Kiva. Then Rabbi Kiva came achar. V'yarmer Avinu Malkeinu Ein Lanu Melech Elata. Avinu Malkeinu L'Manacha Racham Aleinu V'yardu Geshamim. He said a couple of Avinu Malkeinus also started to rain. So Havi Mirani Rabbanon. Yat Sabasko V'yamra. So people were complaining, saying, what's going on over here? How could it be Rabbi Eliezer was not answered? Rabbi Kiva was. Is there something wrong with Rabbi Eliezer? Rabbi Amra, woman nation zeh gadol mizeh el shazeh maver al midaisav v'zeh enu maver al midaisav. It's not that one was greater than the other, but one is maver al midaisav. That is, he is forgiving of his of himself. In other words, that he doesn't get upset if someone harms him. So he goes above and beyond. So too Hashem is going to go above and beyond. It doesn't mean that one is maybe they're equal in, let's say, Torah knowledge or in their service to Hashem. But when it came to their personal relationships, because Rabbi Eliezer was not Mavra Midaisav, so therefore he was not answered. Tarabanan. Amasi Hagashamim Yardin. How much does it have to rain? But see Rapaiskim Mitainisam. And we can already stop fasting. So Kamoli Berech Hamacharisha, Divra Amer, from the depth of a blade of a plow. Chacham Amrim, it depends. Becharev, it's dry soil, tefach deep. Bainis, middle soils, tefachim 2. Bavuda shlosh tefachim, it's a plowed field 3. Tanya Rabbi Shimon ben Eliezer Omer Inocha tefach milmala. We don't find a tefach above, she'en tohim yoitzel ikrasa shlosh tefachim, that the bottom of the depths go up 3 tefachim. Tanya tefachim, some say it goes up 2. Lokasha kan b'avoida, kan b'she'eno avoida. It depends if it's avuda or not avuda. Whether it's a plowed field, then it's 3. If it's a non-plowed field, then it is 2. Let's look at Rashi, actually, the top. She'eno avuda. The chinichnasu bo tefach tfehu denachas v'nafik dahoim lekabli gimel tvachim. So the way Rashi says is the opposite. That when it's non-plowed, then it goes up 3. If it's plowed, then it goes up 2. Amar Belezer, kishe naschin esamayim b'chag. When one does the nisuch, the libations of water on Sukkot, tahoim oima chavero, the adept say to its friend, Abba mimecha, koil shnei reim ani shameya. I hear 2 voices of friends. Shnemer tahoim el tahom koirei l'koil sinurecha. That they call to their channels. Amar Rabba l'didi chazili hai ridya. I heard this angel dami l'igla tilta, which is comparable to this calf. Some say igla tilta is the finest of meats. Is a third-born animal. Different pshatim. What is an igla tilta? Upirsa safosei, and it had parted lips. The kaima bein tahaima tata with tahaima law. It was between the upper and the bottom depths. With tahaima ilah armelei chashor mimecha with tahaima tata. Armelei abba mimecha shnemar hanitzavim niru ba'aretz. The Gomer. Okay. Haimasanin v'yardu geshamim kanei tzachama. Let's say it starts raining and it's all totally if it started raining by sunrise, so you don't have to fast anymore. Tanaban, Haimasanim Yalohem Geshamim Kanei Tzachama, Lo Yashlim, Lach Netzacham, Yashlim and Divir Rameir. So it's all totally on Netzachama. Yehuda Omer, If the rain comes, you have to finish the fast. Once it's already past midday, you should finish it. Have Yosi Omer a third shot. Before 9 hours, why 9? Melech Yisrael. What do we find regarding Achav? That he fasted from 9 hours and up. Shnemar, as the pasuk says in Malachim, Hara'isa, did you not see ki nichna Achav, that Achav was humbled? Started raining after Nates. They were thinking to complete it. Rabbi, no, it's totally before Chatzos, and since it was before Chatzos, you don't have to continue. Shmuel Katan goes at Tanise. It started raining before. Most of them thought it was based on the, says Rashi, Shvach Shel Sibor, Shedain Lu Karu Vananu, that they didn't even call out in their answers. They thought it was to their praise. He wants something, reward from his master. Tenuloi, give it to him. I don't even want to listen to him. So the fact that we didn't have a chance to even daven is not necessarily a good thing. Hashem is basically saying, just give it to you, and that's it. Shmuel Katan goes at Tanisa. It started raining after sunset. Right? They were davening all day, and again, Hashem was very proud of us. All of us davening, and then only afterwards He gave it to us. Shmuel lo shvach shel sibrahu. El emsholchem mashal mahdav levish mavakish prosper rabo. You want something from your master, but amrulhem hamtinu lo. Let's wait. Ad sheis makmek yitztayer. Let's wait until they are in tremendous pain, and only at the last second, Yachach Tanu, I'll give it to him. So when is it a good sign from the tzibor? If they got rain before they started davening, it's not good. If they didn't get the rain until the very end, it's not good. So when is it something to praise the tzibor? So the Gemara says, in the case is the following. It has to be that while we're davening, at that moment, once we start davening, then the rain starts coming. Masav goes to Taanit Balud. The name of Halal Mikara. So it said that they said Hallel afterwards. So by Rabbi Hallel, as we continue to Chavav Aleph, and this is question 2 as well. Why didn't we say the Hal Hagadol until let's just finish the rest of this line on Chavav Aleph. El al nefesh saveya. You have to be satiated. Vikaris malay. Your stomach has to be full. The question is, why? Why do we not say Hal Hagadol unless we're full? And he also says we have to see Rashi. V'yamosai moirin. There's a time that you're allowed to do it. Now, what is the problem? So says Rashi in the top, so if we're starving, we're not being true to that pasuk of Hashem is nice and lechem b'chol basar. It doesn't gives bread to everyone. I'm starving. I have no food. So therefore, it's better that we should first be full. Then we could properly say nice lechem b'chol basar. Eini b'hara papa ikul ben kanista. The avi goiver. He went to this shul. The gazer Tanis. V'yadol gisham. Started raining on chatzais. V'omer halil. They immediately said halil right on the spot. V'yachachach v'shas. And only afterwards they ate and drank. So why would he do that? He should have let them eat and drink and then come back. So Shani b'nei Mechuza the shchichibu shichus. There was a lot of drinking going on. Says Rashi, Yan v'shichus upishi v'lo yomer halel. Better that they should say halel, even if they say halel and say nois nechal b'basar with an empty stomach, which is not really true to the words, than the possibility of them going home, drinking, not getting back. So therefore, we actually learn out from here an interesting thing, that even though maybe it's possible there's a better time or better way to daven, but if you have the tzibur there, so sometimes we say it's even better. So We know that in a lot of shuls they daven mincha, daven marv. So some say, no, maybe I shouldn't daven marv now. You should daven after seitzah chachavim. But you can't be matriach the tzibur to expect them to sit there for an hour and a half or whatever amount of time it takes until the stars come out. So therefore we daven mincha and marv because they're there. If we would say we're going to have mincha at this time and then marv come back 2 hours later, a lot of people just won't come back. And therefore, perhaps as a similar concept is why we do this. Okay. Let's see a couple of questions, and then we'll see the Hadra. So we're going to obviously stop there. That was question 2. Question TA 13. Hayu misanin v'yardohem geshamim. So it started raining. So the question is, Masai in srichin lahashlim hatzayim. When do you not have to complete the fast? So either if it starts raining before Netzachama, or before Chatzos, or before the 9th hour. Okay? Question TB 15. Madua in Ormim Halil El Al Nefesh Salveh V'Kares Malaya. So this actually only addresses half of the question, which is TB 15, which is the same question as question 2, so we don't have to repeat that. But we will say Hanulach Seder Tainus Elu, Hanulach Seder Tainiyos Elu, Hanulach Seder Tainiyos Elu. Beginning the 4th parak, B'shloisha Parakim B'shana 3 times in a year, Kohanim Noisines Kapehem, they do Nesias Kapayim, Arba Pamim 4 times during the day, B'yom, which is Shachras Musaf Mincha, and Nila Sha'arim. Adkan.